And so, yes, I can understand how it feels to be that person who is obese, as I was, depressed. I was not diagnosed with blood sugar, but I was definitely heading in the direction of being a type 2 diabetic and feeling lost, confused, and really as if I had no purpose on this earth. That's how it started.
Putting this on the table, I was on thyroid medicine for 20 years, and I
Okay.
knew that I was shutting my vocals down, and there were
Mhm.
things in my past that I needed to clean up. Can we speak about, open the space up right away around this spiritual journey that
Yes.
you're finding that really may have helped you in maybe these past 10 years, or what's been happening for you in your spiritual journey, being able to open up and see that there's this new layer you want to open up for yourself to get to that next level?
Well, first, I want to give thanks for you creating that safe vessel in which to have this conversation, because when you're standing on stage in the smallest of bikinis and it is simply a judgment of the physical self, it's, yeah, you're very judged, but there is no safe place to discuss the emotional aspects of self because you're literally putting yourself on display. So the last 10, 12 years for me have been some of the most grueling sets and reps I've ever done. And the becoming more naked with myself. Because when we are ready to look at the shadow of who we are, the deep shadows, there is a call to be vulnerable and to be naked with yourself, and that takes a lot of courage. So,
Yeah.
I want to kind of begin there. But I believe now, and I'll have to give you a little context for those listening if you don't know the story. I I reached a kind of the height of acclaim, if you will, by around the year 2012. So my books went crazy from 2005 to 2012, and it was amazing and lovely and all the rest of it. And I say this only because in and I got one right here too. In 2011, my stepson, who was 24, passed away from complications from a car accident. And a year later, my beloved husband, Robert, second husband, passed away from cancer suddenly. And then a year after that, I had to bankrupt the very business, the publishing business that made these books happen. And then I lost my business. And then I lost my home and I lost my income, my livelihood, and my purpose. So I went to the depths of darkness, and I there could not be anything lower except it was complicated and it was low. When I declared bankruptcy, I was publicly vilified. All the financial comforts that I had in life were gone. I was down to zero, not knowing how to pay the bills at some points in my life. Um, and my light just was very dim. So I understood, not right away, I understood because I was willing to do the work that this was intentional, that this was a moment in my life where there was an opportunity for deep personal growth. It really did take me 10 years. What it took was me simply cutting away all of the past,
Mhm.
not even needing to prove myself as an oxygen cover girl anymore. And I had to say goodbye to her. I had to say goodbye to so many aspects of my life. But what I welcomed was who I always was and truly am in my life. And that was something that wasn't really invited in the clean eating oxygen days. I'm grateful for all of it because it's
Mhm.
given me so much. But now I understand in order to be relevant, I need to renovate myself, if you will. I need to keep honoring that future self who's calling me forwards.
To be in that raw, vulnerable space, it really is like a spiritual space, and
It is.
learning that the more authentic that we get to show, that we allow ourselves to show up, that it invites people because we get to shine, and
Yeah.
that space is so calming down in that, that first chakra, that balanced space.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you sharing, because I didn't know the middle part of that when the magazine went away and what you dealt with. I love that you're speaking about that this is what you invited in so that you could get to that next level. Thank
Yeah,
you.
lots of times I will say to people when they have difficult things happen to them, I will say, ultimately that person who is delivering this pain to you is literally putting their hand up and saying, I will take this one for you so you may understand the lesson here. And I never used to think that way. I would just get mad and angry and kick the table and, just be that awful vindictive person. But this process of losing it all got me to be much, much more naked with myself than ever being on stage in a tiny bikini.
Ooh. I just got the chills in that one.
So when I have that opportunity to share this, it excites me just wildly. And I almost, when I'm coaching, I feel like I'm just surrendering to the process. I sometimes don't even know what I'm saying. I know that sounds funny, but I'm just channeling. I have been touched by the loss of a child, cancer, bankruptcy, fall from grace, public vilification, starting over, being broke, having no money. That really has called me to be a greater person, but also makes me less of a on a pedestal kind of person.
Yeah.
And I feel that maybe that is what gives my audience the courage to be vulnerable to me so that they too can be vulnerable with themselves.
I felt like there was a spiritual opening that happened for me too once I really realized I was closing my vocals down. And when I got to read the magazine, I knew that you had a formula that felt good. And that even though at that point, it sounds like you might have thrown some tantrums, kick a table, this isn't working for me. But
I did that.
I could feel your higher self. Even though I didn't know at the time. It was at 15 years ago, I still kind of wasn't stepping into things myself. But I could feel that there was something so beautiful about the alignment and the truth that you were in at that moment. And that's what's precious, is each moment that we have that we can say, this is all that I know, but how can I bring myself into alignment so that I can really speak my truth?
It required a death. And I don't mean a literal death. Yes, I lost my son and I lost my husband. And those are horrific events. They will always leave their stamp on me. But it required a death of self. It required me to have the courage to let go of who I thought I was and who I, in some ways, was made to be because, oxygen cover girl doesn't show up 40 pounds overweight. So it really required me to surrender to that deeper process, that spiritual journey that is brighter and more significant than standing on stage with a six-pack.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry for any of those aspects. It's just, I believe this is the evolution. And then in order to keep evolving, there is always going to be a death or a departure of old self. Oh my God, I just got it.
Yeah.
I need to say goodbye to Tosca Reno. Oxygen Tosca Reno. She doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
There is a new Tosca Reno at work here. And just like the David with Michelangelo, to carve away what is now no longer serving that greater self, that's the vision, that's the journey. And I think we all have to be willing to go on that to a certain extent, because Rhonda, I don't know about you, but I feel like every pound of excess weight that women carry is predominantly originates from thought. So emotional weight. It's the emotional baggage that we carry. And when we can see the truth of that, and you know it because it lands on your shoulders and you go, yeah, I'm eating this weight because fill in the blanks. But, to be in the same circles, if you will, as Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jane Seymour and Lou Ferrigno and Robert Kennedy and all the big names, and to have a story to tell that ties all the learnings of bodybuilding and then fitness and then becoming a New York Times bestselling author and all the rest of it. That's a story that hasn't been told yet. And nobody really knows the story of what's happened over the last 12 years because I haven't told it. So it's time to tell that story too. So I'm there. I'm enjoying being an Oma. My background is Dutch, so a grandmother is an Oma. And I'm enjoying being that person because I see that who I am as an Oma is another aspect of of myself, and also as my children watch, as they become mothers. They watch and they see, and I'm 100% sure that my mother, who passed a year ago, at my age was not swinging a kettlebell around or going hard on the Peloton as I do. I see that they're watching this, and I have an opportunity to subliminally impact them. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. You're
Yeah,
right. I'm a parent right now, 18, 20-year-old. I'm just like, I'm a guide.
yeah. Waking up every day with my so you were talking about meditation, and I will say, had I not had these negative experiences, negative, let's not call them that, this dark chapter, I haven't come up with a good term for this yet, but had I not had to go through these last, say, 10 years, 12 years, I wouldn't know about my spiritual self. I wouldn't know about meditation. I wouldn't know about forgiveness. I wouldn't know about shaman work, energy work, light work, healing. And I have done that. I went to Hawaii for 3 months when I finally came clean of all the financial burdens I was carrying. And I went there for 3 months and lived in tourist, small town, nowhere, Hawaii. And did some heavy shaman work there, because now I'm familiar with things like 5D, 12D, and
Mhm.
some amazing ascension experiences happened for me that, whoa, blew my mind. So I wouldn't have known about those things. I had to have it's like that, the magic trick where the tablecloth gets pulled away and you think the life that you knew is the life that you knew, and now it isn't. Well, now I can say thank you.
I appreciate you so much, my friend.
Oh, feeling is mutual.
You really changed my life. I was in accounting,
Mhm.
became a CPA. That day I knew it was just the wrong space. I looked at
Yeah,
Oxygen because I had all the magazines and I read them, and I lived with it. And I was very exterior on the body. Like, I
yeah,
worked out since I was 14. So I was just all, I mean, I
yeah.
was all into that. And now I'm in that spiritual space that you're talking about too. And this
So,
journey is so nummy to me. I really appreciate you, my
yes.
friend. Really
And as
appreciate you.
and as a hopeful comment, thank you. When you say that about the spiritual, it's yummy. I want to share for those listening that it's when the more that you step in that spiritual aspect of yourself, which we all possess, you don't need to be blessed or do anything you're already there.
Mhm.
The lighter we become, because we pull light into ourselves as vessels of love and learning, but we
Mhm.
also change the needs or the things that we thought we needed to keep ourselves going. I think that's been a really big change for me too.
Thank you for being so human. You help so many people, Tosca. Thank you for your
Thank
space. I
you.
appreciate your time, my friend.
Oh, Rhonda, thank you. I think when we do good work together, we pull together, and that energy just radiates out to whomever is listening. So I so appreciate you making space for me and for the listeners as well. I so appreciate you.
Mhm.
We do this together.
I call it hashtag, just so it's, social media, right?
Yeah.
Speaker locking arms, like our vocals, opening ourselves
Yes.
that we really are saying, I see you, I see you. I feel that I'm on this humanity project of like entertaining through the mindset. So
Yeah.
it's like a humanitarian mindset transformation entertainment is what I trademarked, journey. And I see myself on stage with like-minded people and building it. And this is what this show really is about, is having
Nice.
superstars on that know how to speak their vocals and authentically share. You did such an incredible job, and I appreciate you.